All right, good morning. Let's take you straight to the headlines as we're counting down to opening this morning. Asian markets make a U-turn as news filters in of a political deal to end the longest ever government shutdown in the US. However, fears continue to persist on overvaluation in tech and AI stocks. Major indices in India could see gains after 3 days of slipping. Chaos in American skies with more than 2,200 flights cancelled on Sunday. Shortage of air traffic controllers who are not being paid because of the US government shutdown throws the entire airline and travel industry into turmoil. Normalization to take days even if a shutdown deal is reached today. All eyes on one of the most controversial IPOs of recent times, Lenskart, to be listed in just under an hour. Markets to determine whether its 70,000 crore rupee valuation is justified. Grey market premium on its issue price of 402 rupees has all but disappeared. It's a virtual traffic jam on IPO Street with 7 public issues, including 5 main boards set to open this week. More than 11,000 crores to be raised. 3 of the IPOs are of companies involved in renewable energy. PhysicsWallah to also open for subscription. Budget brokerage Grow to list this week. Tesla finds itself following VinFast in India as price-conscious customers prefer the Vietnamese EV maker to Elon Musk's brand. Tesla clocked sales of just 40 units in the peak festive month of October. VinFast is way ahead with 131 units. Tata Motors still leads the pack with 7,239 units last month. But first, breaking news this morning. Global brokerage Goldman Sachs has upgraded India to overweight. This comes 13 months after it downgraded its view to neutral in October 2024. The brokerage has also set a target of 29,000 for the Nifty by the end of December 2026. That's a year from now. And this is an upside of 14% from Friday's closing levels. Goldman Sachs, in its report, recommended financials, consumer staples, defense, and oil marketing companies. It's also cited earnings shortfall, external headwinds, and investor concerns over the impact of AI as some of the key risks. The brokerage has cited a mix of high valuations, cyclical growth, profit slowdown, expectations, and tariff headwinds for India underperforming emerging markets. The report sees a case for Indian equities to now perform better over the coming year, with easing measures announced by the RBI and GST cuts aiding growth over the next 2 years. Sounding really good for India this morning. Let me take you through that again on what really Goldman has said, and it's why it's significant. Upgrade to overweight 13 months after the downgrade that we saw in October 24. 29,000, that's the target for next year. And when I go across to our guests, I think they're going to say it's easily achievable. And that's a 14% upside from Friday's closing levels. And it's recommended financials, consumer staples, defense, and oil marketing companies. Some risks to keep in mind: earnings shortfall, external headwinds, and the impact of AI. Let me welcome in Shailendra Bhatnagar, who's joining us this morning. As always, Shail, that kind of target doesn't seem so impossible to reach, but it's the fact that we're getting that huge endorsement coming in from Goldman just a year after the downgrade that's perhaps the key takeaway this morning.
Absolutely, Abha. There is a lot of foreign flows likely to come into India now that Chinese markets have peaked in the short term. Remember, from October 2024 to September of 2025, the Chinese markets outperformed the Indian market by a very large measure, and that opposite trade is now in the works. China is now trading at a 15 PE, and the Indian markets will now get some part of that fund. Plus the tailwinds that you mentioned, they are acting positively, and the 27,000 crore rupee monthly SIPs that domestic investors have been putting in regularly. So all good, a front foot on Monday, Abha.
Does seem to be on the front foot for sure. Amrish Baliga also joining us. Amrish, good morning. Definitely looking steady after 3 days of, slipping away there on the index. But this morning, we're also seeing a very, very positive view coming in from Goldman, citing a mix of high valuations, cyclical growth, some profit slowdown expectation, and tariff headwinds for India that could perhaps still need to be kept in mind, but they see a case for Indian equities to perform better over the coming years, especially with measures announced by the RBI and GST cuts. What's your take on the 29,000 target?
The 29,000 target should be achievable. I mean, what are we talking about? We are talking about 13% rise from where we are right now. And this is after a year of underperformance. And if you take 2 years into account, we are talking of 6.5%, 7% sort of a rise in Nifty over 2 years. So it's nothing much as such, and especially looking at as to where we are right now. I mean, despite the sort of issues which we have seen on tariffs, the earnings for Q2, I think, has surprised most of the analysts because expectations were low, and against that, we have seen a much better performance. So, I mean, I'll not be surprised if we see levels of about 29,000 or even 30,000 is possible.
Absolutely. Well, we've got the opening bell, but Amrish, just to take that point, and I completely agree with you, I think it's also a signal perhaps when you see one of the largest global brokerages actually turning around its view on India. It's perhaps the bigger takeaway here is just a signal, and in terms of the perception and the way attention is moving to India. Do you see signs of FIs also wanting to come back?
This report is from Goldman. So this report is not really talking about the retail participation. It is talking about institutional participation.
Sure.
And that it clearly points toward FIIs and who've been away from the Indian markets for a while. And with the rupee also stabilizing and the sort of performance which we are showing, I'm sure they would come back in 2026.
All right. That's the big takeaway this morning. But metals on top of the charts, 0.8% high on the metal index this morning. Remember, the government saying they may impose a safeguard duty on steel that'll support domestic players. The index is up 0.3% as we speak. So a steady start this Monday. Metals in focus, of course. We've got loads of earnings, and we'll talk through those in just a moment and see what's buzzing. Let's actually try and pull up some of those buzzers. But first, on the index itself, Infi's up 1%. Bajaj Auto, Hindalco, some of the key gainers right now this morning. We've got a whole host of earnings, AstraZeneca, Bajaj Auto. So that's, of course, moving up close to 1% on the back of earnings, a beat on estimates coming in there on Bajaj. We've also got a whole host of stocks in the broader markets as well. So, for instance, Finolex, JSW Cement, Aris Infra, a lot of these actually showing a good turnaround this quarter on the back of earnings. As Amrish was also just saying, earnings have actually positively surprised this time around. Let's pull up some of those names for you. There you go on your screen. So AstraZeneca also seeing a good response this morning. We've got sugar in focus as well. Positive sentiment as the centre has allowed for 1.5 MT of sugar exports for 25-26. So we'll bring up sugar stocks. Finolex reacting to earnings as well this morning. So 2.5% higher on Finolex. AstraZeneca responding to earnings. Sugar is definitely in action this morning. Shail, what are you tracking on your screens?
Well, Abha, by the dip in metals, PSU banks will be outperforming. Financial services sector is in top shape, and of course, capital markets led by BSE. So new highs in the market are Newland Labs, 9% higher, very strong earnings, 19,500 for you. Again, HBL engines from the railway space, now in 4 digits, 1,071. And of course, financial services. Shriram Finance, L&T Finance at fresh record highs. And of course, from the insurance space, SBI Life and AU Bank from the banking sector doing immensely well. So 4 sectors, financial services, metals, PSU banks, and of course, capital markets are moving up and moving up smartly. Nifty up 60, Bank Nifty up 100. Yours.
Okay, continue to bring up some of those movers in the broader markets. I think my producer was just firing a couple of them as well. Strong moves coming in on some of those stocks. Let's pull some of those back for you. And we've got Karnataka Bank in the news. FSN e-commerce, let's pull that one as well on earnings. So Karnataka, we are seeing earnings action. FSN has actually missed estimates. So I just want to see how that one's doing this morning. We're still up 2.5%. Net income, 344.3 million versus 100.4 million. So perhaps that's what the market's reading. But it's a strong move coming in this morning on that one. Let's pull up Karnataka Bank. Let's pull up Torrent Pharma. Just see if any earnings reaction coming in on some of these as well. So lots of earnings action that we're tracking for you this morning. And then, of course, order book action also continuing across the board. But I'll get to those in a moment. Karnataka Bank is down post-earnings, down 1.5% or so. Amrish, it's as you said, there's a lot of earnings action, more positive surprises than not, like a Torrent's up 3.5%. FSN e-commerce is looking really good this morning. Bajaj Auto was a beat, for instance. From the earnings basket, what's been looking really good to you, and some of these numbers as well that we're seeing reacting today? Anything you'd like to comment on?
Among the ones which I really liked in the past couple of weeks was L&T, which hadn't really performed in the last 1.5, 2 years. And now with the sort of earnings which we have seen, we've already seen the stock moving up to a decent extent in the last 2 to 3 months, but I still see the stock going up further, possibly in the 10 to 12% more from here.
All right, so that continues to be in focus, and it's a stock that has been coming up consistently on most of our experts' radar. Let me also touch on all the IPO action. We've got at least 7 public issues raising over 11,000 crore rupees and all set to hit the markets this week. Among the 7 are 5 main board IPOs, with the first opening for subscription tomorrow. PhysicsWallah is raising 3,480 crore rupees. Also opening tomorrow is the IPO of MV Photovoltaic. Auto parts maker Tenneco, Clean Air India, part of a US company, will be raising 3,600 crores. And the next 2 days will see solar inverter and batteries maker Fujiyama and SaaS company Capillary Technologies hit the street. Meanwhile, Pine Labs, that IPO is still open, closes tomorrow, and Lenskart is listing today amid deep scrutiny, while Grow is expected to list on Wednesday. It's been incredibly busy for IPO Street this time around. Shail, what are you tracking? And Lenskart, just about 40 minutes to go. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. It's a phenomenal moment regardless for the founders, of course.
Absolutely, Abha. I think it's the widening and deepening of the markets. Of course, no point in chasing a stock if it lists at a premium. I think Lenskart should be delighted if they just about manage to hold on to their IPO price. These stocks will be easily available 6 months later, much cheaper.
Absolutely, and that's largely what we've been hearing. Perhaps avoid the hype around IPO time at this particular point of time. All right, let's go back across to Amrish. Amrish, I know you mentioned some of the areas that you're bullish on, but let me come back to consumption, because that's clearly the pocket that everyone's putting their bets on when it comes to the India story. Within the consumption basket, I mean, FMCG kind of falls out of favor. Then everyone looks at durables. Where are you looking, when it comes to consumption? What do you feel is going to really benefit from the wave?
I think it's across the consumption space. I mean, right from automobiles to white goods to FMCG. I think all these three are going to perform decently well. And despite the final announcement coming towards the end of September, there were issues as far as the supply chain GST adjustment was concerned, and because of which we have seen that some of the consumption stocks have shown poorer results than expected. But I think this quarter, that will be made up, and the sort of a boom which we have seen post the announcement, I think should be seen in the Q3 earnings. So all these three sectors I'm clearly bullish on right now.
Okay. All right. So constantly bullish across some of those. When you were... Okay, let me just pull up. We've got a knock coming in on one of the stocks. Twinkle's just going to pull that up for you on your screen. Let's just take a look. Trent is down 6% today. I'm just trying to track if there's a news trigger here, but here we go. Q2 net income up 6.6%. It's actually a beat. What's happening on Trent, Shail? The stock's taking a complete hammering.
Abha, I think the best of Trent is behind it. It's now a part of the Nifty, and the rally that we saw about 2 years ago was more than enough. Now profit booking happening. Actually, there's a lot of activity that's happening on these online retailers, which are taking away market share from existing stores. So Trent is one of them, and we've seen a high of about 8,200 in October 2024. The stock had actually moved from 1,300 rupees in February 2023. So that's simple profit booking that's happening. The earnings are nothing to talk about, and money moving into high beta, low ticket items. Look at banks, look at metal stocks, look at national aluminium. That's where the money is getting made on the long side. Abha.
Absolutely. Metals continue to be in focus. And I'm going to come to Amrish on that in just a moment. I just want to pull up transformers and rectifiers once because that stock's also taking a hammering today. We're just trying to find a trigger on that one, but it's down 20%. I'm not sure if it's hitting lower circuit. I don't know what the recent trajectory has been here, Shail, if you pull it up on your screen, anything that pops out to you. But transformers and rectifiers down about 20% this morning.
Abha, this will
I think it's again an earnings reaction, Shail.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
they've seen a pretty severe drop in net profit this time around.
Absolutely. And a 20% downtick in a stock that has outperformed in a sector that has been on the top of buying radars. That's the reason why you see this downtick about a low of October 2024. That's what the chart is showing. This is the top loser in the NSE 500 so far. Abha.
All right. Okay, we've got HBL Engineering. That was the one that Twinkle had pulled up earlier. That's doing pretty well this morning. So back to seeing some green on the screen for a moment. HBL, AstraZeneca, Torrent, these are the ones that are actually moving on earnings as opposed to those that are getting hammered. But we'll continue to pull those up for you. But let me come to you, Amrish, on some of the metal names, because especially whether it's Hindalco, Nalco, we're continuing to see consistent buying, and that pocket continues to look pretty steady, even with fundamental factors in play.
Absolutely. I think metals is another sector which will continue performing. And beyond steel and aluminum, which clearly I expect them to perform, we should see stocks like Hindustan Zinc, which is right now on the screen. I think this is the other stock which should continue performing decently well, looking at the sort of demand which is there for zinc, as well as silver, because about 40% of the bottom line for Hindustan Zinc comes from silver. And the way this prices have gone up, I think that's also going to benefit Hindustan Zinc.
Right. We've got some big earnings today as well. Amrish, when it comes to Bajaj Finance, for instance, ONGC, anything you're watching out for there? Anything from the commentary or earnings?
Yeah, I mean, Bajaj Finance, clearly, I would clearly watch out for the sort of a growth which we have seen in the past couple of years, whether the trajectory remains the same or not, because it's clearly expected that Jio Finance going ahead would be a disruptor in the market, and Bajaj Finance could be one of those which could get affected by Jio.
Interesting. Okay. I think that's a longer conversation, for us, Amrish, to get into that one. It's going to be interesting. Sugar is buzzing, as I mentioned, but let me just pull up some of those sugar stocks for you again. Remember, we've got the center allowing sugar exports about 1.5 MT for 25-26. So it's a sentiment boost. It's not necessarily the pocket that we talk about every day, but sugar is definitely buzzing. And we've got defense stocks moving as well, and that continues to be a constant. Lot of focus there. Amrish, every day we're reading out new order book additions and so forth. Within the defense pie, any value picks that you'd like to point out?
No, at this point of time, I would be a bit cautious on the defense space. Clearly, because of the order flows which we have seen in the past 2 to 3 years, most of the stocks have become multi-baggers. But the issue going ahead, like I've been saying earlier also, would be execution, because it's not possible to increase the capacity overnight. The way the orders are flowing in. So there would be execution issues, just like what we have seen in HAL, in the last few months. I think that's going to be an issue going ahead.
All right. So lots to track there. Amrish, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good chatting with you as always and getting your perspective. And, we'll continue to track some of those picks that Amrish has pointed out, as well as perhaps where you should taper off as valuations are getting a bit rich. We're watching out for the Lenskart listing at 10 o'clock. We also got some continued newsmakers. HAL is buzzing right now. We've got lots of earnings reaction pouring in. Torrent is now up 4%, looking really good right now. Bajaj Hindustan from the sugar pie is up about 3% right now. Balrampur is up 4%. So a lot of action brewing there as we speak. Let's, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. Of course, the channel will have market closing at 3 p.m. Thanks for watching.